E3 is just around the corner. What's the biggest games to look forward to and which ones am I personally excited for? Well, let's take a look. E3 is one of my favorite things to happen every single year, mostly because I don't really watch sporting events or anything like that, so when it comes to E3, it's the one time that I know I'm going to be sitting down on a couch all day, eating popcorn and watching a whole bunch of press conferences. Yeah, it's probably like the nerdiest thing I do, but whatever, I like it. Now this year, I'm very excited to take a look at the PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo conferences because I think they're going to be announcing a whole ton of really amazing games. First up, let's talk about PlayStation. Now, PlayStation 4 has been on the market for a while now, and as many of you already know, they're pretty much the dominating force in the industry. They've sold more PlayStation 4s than any other console on the market, even though Switch is pretty much catching up pretty fast. And this is a good time for them to show off a bunch of games that basically want to keep people to buying more PlayStation 4s. And the first game, and probably the most exciting game I'm looking forward to, is Death Stranding. Death Stranding is Hideo Kojima's latest game. Now, Kojima recently left Konami over a very public fight for some reason that nobody really knows about, but I'm excited to see what the next game that he's actually going to make because this is the very first time that Kojima has ever made a game without any oversight from another company. This is pretty insane because I've never seen this happen before with this specific creator, but just think about Shigeru Miyamoto having complete control over the games he designs at Nintendo. Well, the same thing is now going to happen with Kojima. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants without any restrictions. Now that might mean two things. It might make the best game ever in the world, or it might make a game that's a total mess that doesn't work. Personally, I think it's going to be pretty good, and although we haven't actually seen any gameplay of the game so far, I'm hoping that this year we finally get to see something at E3. Because otherwise, it's all just been a lot of really nice, colorful cutscenes. Not really colorful cutscenes either, it's been a lot of blacks and grays, but still, very good looking blacks and grays. Of course, another game that's on everybody's list is Spider-Man. Now, Spider-Man is a PlayStation 4 exclusive, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty good. Now, after that new Spider-Man Homecoming movie, everyone's been all Spider-Man heavy again, and seeing Spider-Man appear in all those Marvel films has been pretty cool, but I really like the video game franchise that they used to do way back when on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation and all those other systems. I'm excited to see a return to form to Spider-Man, and I'm hoping that this really makes a new entry into making a lot more Spider-Man games, because from what I've seen so far, the game looks really fun, really fast, and has a main villain that I've actually never seen before, which is pretty exciting. Many of you are a big fan of Last of Us, and personally, I've never played the game enough, and I know there's gonna be a billion comments down below that are just gonna be people freaking out that I've never really played the game. I do own it on PlayStation 4, and I do intend to play it. And although I've only played a small portion of it, what I did play was really, really good. So I am excited to see what happens with Last of Us Part 2, but my expectations are set just a little bit lower only because I just don't know the first game all that well. But I know a lot of you out there are very excited about this game. And heck, feel free to make fun of me in the comments for not actually playing the game the first time around, because I'm pretty sure you're gonna do that anyway. Now, another game I'm looking very forward to is a game called Ghost of Tsushima. This game looks amazing. At least the cutscenes do what I've seen. I've never actually seen any gameplay of it, but knowing the developers of this game were previously making games like Infamous, I can only imagine how much detail and time is going to go into the development of this game. With their previous game, Infamous Second Son, they got a chance to work with the PlayStation 4 hardware and figure out all of its little quirks and oddities. Now that they have that down pat, they can make a game that really makes use of the PlayStation 4 hardware. So this game is something that I'm very excited to see. And last on the list for the PlayStation 4 is Shenmue. Now, I've been a big fan of Shenmue for years, ever since playing it on the Dreamcast, and I did kickstart the thing recently for the third entry of the game. Now, this is something I really, really care about because I desperately want to see actual good gameplay come out of it. So far, we've seen a lot of questionable trailers and stuff like that, and although I am a very big fan, my faith in it is starting to waver a bit only because I think they might be running out of money. Now, this is just my own personal feeling. I haven't really read anything about this, but I'm hoping that at this E3 we get to see some really good gameplay come out of them that's going to excite people about this. Also, I would very much like to play the new Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2 HD kits that are coming out soon, so, you know, I'm all Shenmue gung-ho, so I'm really hoping we get to see some really cool stuff this year. Now that the PlayStation 4 is out of the way, let's talk about the Xbox One. Now, Xbox One has been through some pretty interesting changes over the past year with the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X, and, well, just a whole bunch of just not stuff working so well. There's been a lot of really cool games released on the platform, but a lot of gamers out there are very upset because, well, they're not really unique to the platform anymore. If you want to get an Xbox One game, chances are you can also get it on the PC, so it's starting to harm the sales of the system off and on. But there are some games that are being announced for the system that, though they may not be exclusive to Xbox One, they will only be available on that console, and you can only get them otherwise on the PC. Now, the first game is Gears of War 5. So, I'm not a big fan of Gears of War, so this really doesn't excite me very much, but I know there's going to be a lot of you out there that actually care about the Gears of War franchise. Now, Gears of War 4, I played, and I didn't like it too much. I thought it really wasn't as good as the previous ones, and even then I wasn't a big fan of the previous ones to give it enough, credit. But what I expect from this new entry in Gears of War is that they kind of refine the gameplay a bit and just make it a little bit more tighter. Gears of War 4 was loaded with loot boxes and a bunch of other crap that I think really held the game back from being a very fun experience. So hopefully this time around they've learned from their lessons and they don't repeat those mistakes. Now, another game I'm excited about is Forza Horizon 4. Now, this is kind of a weird thing because I don't actually like the Forza games in general because I find them to be just simulation racers that aren't very technically fun, but Forza Horizon has actually changed it up and added more of an arcade-like experience that has made the game a little bit more fun and enjoyable to play. See, when I go to play a video game, I don't really want the whole realism thing being drilled into my head, so when it comes to the Horizon series, you get to see a whole bunch of crazy stuff. Like in Forza Horizon 3, there's a whole Hot Wheels racetrack mode that actually is just really bizarrely fun to play, and I hope we get to see more things like that with Horizon 4. If not, though, it might still be a very fun game. Another game that a lot of people are expecting to see is Crackdown 3. But I'm not. Crackdown 1 was fun, Crackdown 2 wasn't, and everything I've seen of Crackdown 3 doesn't look like a good game. Now, I could be completely wrong, and I really want to be, but everything I've seen of Crackdown 3 looks bad. And I hate to say this. I don't think they're focusing on the gameplay so much. I don't think they're adding a lot of really interesting features. And every time I've heard of Crackdown 3 in the past, all they've talked about was that really big, interesting city destruction element of a cloud-based server that rendered all the physics in real time or something, which, cool, I guess. But honestly, that doesn't really affect the gameplay so much as far as I can see. And what I have seen of the game is simply just not that impressive. Now, the last game that people are talking about for Xbox is a new Halo game. Now again, much like the Gears of War franchise, I do care more about Halo, but the last entry of Halo was not very good. I know there's a lot of mixed receptions out there, but essentially I felt the story was very weak, even though I'm not a big fan of the Halo story in general, and the gameplay in the series just really let itself down. Halo is a very important franchise for Microsoft, and to see it on the Xbox is one of their big console pushes. Now, the last Halo game was still unique to the Xbox console, so this new one, if it isn't unique to Xbox, may come out for the PC for the first time, and maybe that might help it out a little bit, but honestly, they gotta improve the way that that game plays out, because if they repeat what the last one did again, I think people are just gonna completely fall out of love of Halo and never want to play it again. Both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are going to be seeing several games released on both platforms, like Call of Duty and Battlefield 5, and even Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, while those other games are important in their own right, I believe that Red Dead Redemption 2 is one of the most important games coming out this generation, because this game is not coming out on the PC or the Switch, it's only available on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And as far as I'm to understand, the PlayStation 4 Pro and the Xbox One X are going to be battling head-to-head to get gamers to buy the game on the best version available. And as far as I'm to see, as far as I can tell, the Xbox One X is most likely going to be the far superior version of this game. But that might change. Maybe the PlayStation 4 version's even better than the Xbox One version. Time's gonna tell, but you're never gonna be able to play this game on any other platform, at least for this time period. So the only way to play it is to own one of those two consoles. It's gonna be a head-to-head fight. It's gonna be pretty exciting to see who comes out on top. Now, for a lot of people out there, you watch E3 for one company, and that company is Nintendo. Now, folks, as you probably can assume, Nintendo has a lot of stuff they have to announce. 2018 has so far been kind of a slow year for releases because we've been seeing a lot of ports and stuff like that. Even the indie games coming to the Switch are ports and releases that have already come out on other systems. So I haven't really been too enthralled about everything they've released so far this year. But what I am excited to see are a bunch of new announcements for new games and gameplay for games they've already announced. First up, Metroid Prime 4. I'm so excited to see Metroid Prime 4 because I just want to see something from the game. Last time, all we saw was just a little title card, and I don't care about that. I want to see some gameplay. I want to see what they're going to be doing with the new Switch hardware. We haven't seen a true Metroid Prime game since that Wii game that was released a while back, which was cool and all, but I really didn't like the motion controls. And unfortunately, Nintendo really hasn't been re-releasing the old Prime games in any way that's been really important for us, except for that whole Wii U release, which was just the Wii version, just re-released in a very kind of constrained way that didn't actually improve the graphics or everything. I want to see this game come out, and I want to see more about it. So I'm hoping E3, we get to see a lot more. Now, of course, Nintendo at E3 is going to be having a tournament for Super Smash Bros., so I guess we're going to be seeing the new Super Smash Bros. Now, this is a very interesting situation. There's a bunch of people out there that are assuming the new Super Smash Bros. Is just going to be the Wii U version ported over to the Switch. Now, that might happen, and I think that's a very reasonable assumption to happen considering everything else we've seen from the Switch so far has been things that were originally designed for the Wii U and just ported over in one way or the other. And that includes games like Super Mario that just came out, that whole Odyssey game. I actually think that one initially was supposed to be a Wii U game that got transferred and modified quite a bit to work on the Switch. Now, this isn't to knock those games in any way because they were fun experiences back then and they're still fun experiences now. But if Smash Bros. Comes out replicating what the Wii U version was, I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be as, I don't know, well received. I really hope they make a version specifically for the Switch that just stands for what the Switch is really good at. Because if they don't, I feel a lot of people are going to start getting nervous about the Switch going forward because they're just getting ports and slight modifications of older games. Now, of course, another game I'm anxiously looking forward to is Pokemon. In the past, we only got Pokemon games on portable systems, and the ones we did get on consoles were cool, but they were never really big experiences, ones that replicated what you got in the initial portable games. So because the Switch is now officially a portable system and a home system at the same time, we might get a finally really big, cool Pokemon RPG for a home console release. I could not be more excited about this. Now, truth be told, the last couple of Pokemon games that have come out kind of ran together for me. They just seemed the same, they played the same, and they really didn't excite me that much. But this time around, I'm hoping that the Pokemon Company can do something really different and very interesting. All they need to do is take the same kind of cool gameplay and assets that existed in the previous Pokemon games and add on just one little bit here and there to make the games that much more interesting. And to be able to play them for the first time in high definition, that's going to be pretty exciting. Another game I'm looking forward to that may or may not be announced is F-Zero. Now, look, Nintendo, I know, you don't want to release a new F-Zero game for some reason because you think the whole franchise is spooky. But look, I really just want a new F-Zero game. I bought the Wii U initially because Nintendo Land actually had some little small F-Zero experience in it, and even though it sucked, I still bought it because of that. And then after that, when the Switch came out, I got myself that really cool game, Fast RMX. And Fast RMX is so close to what an F-Zero experience could be like, but it's not quite F-Zero enough. Please, Nintendo, if you're watching this, and if you have enough time to make it happen, announce an F-Zero game. Make me and about 10 other people happy. We would really like it. So that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to for this year's E3. There's a whole bunch of games there that I talked about that I'm not that excited to look at, but even if I'm not excited, the chances are that E3 may actually excite me because they'll do something really cool with those games I don't care that much about. And of course, there's always going to be a whole bunch of hidden games that are going to be announced, which is so exciting to watch and see as they unfold. So for everyone out there that is really excited to watch E3, well, I'll be right there with you.